The Asus Zenfone 5Z seemed like an interesting proposition when they announced it back during MWC this year. Fast forward to July and it still seems like an interesting device. Starting at Rs 29,999, Asus seems to have nailed the pricing, so it's up to the performance to decide on it being a success or not. This is Sandeep from Rev Atlas. Let's take a look at the review. The design isn't really out of the box. It's a rectangle with rounded corners and two slabs of glass sandwiching in the aluminum midframe. It looks good, but the phone is surprisingly light, which takes away a bit from giving a premium feeling. We have the black variant here, but I personally prefer the silver, which highlights the concentric circular pattern at the back better. Despite the lightweight, it actually feels well built and is very pocketable and easy to handle. You'll be forgiven for thinking that this has a small screen, but it doesn't. In fact, the 5Z has a 6.2-inch display, which is the same as the S8 Plus and S9 Plus devices from Samsung. But the smaller bezels and smaller footprint mask the screen size well, and the overall footprint is much smaller than the aforementioned devices. The display is an IPS panel, but a beautiful one at that. It's really sharp and has great colors and supports DCI-P3. The display has 2246 by 1080 pixels of resolution due to the 19:9 aspect ratio. There's a notch and it's not the smallest, but you can hide it with software, and there's also a notification LED housed within the earpiece grill. The only slight gripe I have with the display itself is the reflective Gorilla Glass that impairs sunlight legibility a bit despite the good brightness. There's a fingerprint scanner at the back that's always active, fast and accurate. It also comes with Face Unlock out of the box, which works well too. Taking inside the 5Z is a Snapdragon 845 octa-core chipset from Qualcomm, the latest and the best. As we've already seen, it provides excellent performance, but what we probably didn't expect is how good the 5Z's performance would be. We did a speed test with the OnePlus 6 and managed to outdo it with lesser amount of RAM even. The 5Z performance is really fluid, and some of the credit also goes to the Zen UI, which is now lighter and slicker than before. It's still on Android 8.0, although Asus promises speedy updates, and yes, it does support Project Treble. You get two variants, 6 and 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 or 64 gigs of storage with the 6 gig variant, while the 8 gig model comes with 256 gigs by default. Whichever version you choose, you get a hybrid dual SIM slot with support for dual 4G VoLTE. The Zenfone 5Z has great audio output over the speaker thanks to dual 5-magnet speakers. The audio output over the audio jack is also good in terms of quality, and there's minimal stereo crosstalk, but the output isn't as good as the speaker setup. The volume is on the lower side, and it isn't too great at driving headphones with higher power requirement. Housed at the back is a 12-megapixel Sony IMX363 1x2.5-inch sensor with optical image stabilization, f1.8 aperture and 1.4 micron-pixel size. The primary camera has an 83-degree field of view, while the secondary camera is a wide-angle one instead of a telephoto and provides a much wider 120-degree field of view. It has 8 megapixels of resolution, fixed focus and f2.2 aperture. The phone does support Camera 2 API and also has an 8-megapixel f2 camera upfront. We'll link our detailed camera review in the description below, but here are some samples for you to take a look. There's a 3300 mAh battery on board, which we didn't really expect to perform well, but it actually performed pretty well, and we got around 6 to 6.5 hours of screen on time always. Not an endurance champion, but Asus has definitely optimized the battery life considering the capacity and is one of the better flagships out there. There's also a very powerful tool called Power Master that gives extensive options to adjust and monitor your battery. The most notable one being AI charging, which will study your sleep patterns and as a result charge your phone to 80% beforehand and only charge it to 100% just before you wake up. This will prevent overcharging and also extends the battery life cycle. It charges over USB Type-C and supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. The Zenfone 5Z is not without faults and is not the perfect smartphone, but it has several aspects that give it an edge over the competition, such as the good battery life, AI charging, excellent performance, dual 5-magnet speakers, expandable storage atop the various storage models, and most importantly, the price. The Zenfone 5Z is most affordable Snapdragon 845 packing smartphone in India currently. It even comes with a further 3K discount on top of the base price of Rs 29,999 if you use ICICI cards, which makes it a bargain. If you're looking for the most value for money smartphone in India currently, I think this is probably it, considering you're getting a flagship smartphone at the price of some mid-rangers that other competitors are giving. We'll include purchase links in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.